In the ancient tales of Norse mythology, where gods walked among giants and the worlds were bound by fate, Thor, the thunder god, embarked on a journey that would test the limits of strength, wit, and perception. This myth, preserved in the Proseda by Snorri Sturluson, reveals profound lessons about humility, deception, and the integration of one's inner shadows, elements that resonate deeply in modern life. As we delve into the story, consider how it mirrors our contemporary struggles, the illusions of invincibility in a world of uncertainties, the shadow side of unchecked ego, and the empowerment that comes from integrating these aspects into a whole self. One crisp autumn in Asgorth, Thor grew restless. His mighty hammer Mjolnir hung at his belt, and his chariot pulled by the goats Tangrisnir and Taunjolster stood ready. Accompanied by the sly Loki, god of mischief, Thor set out for Jotunheim, the realm of the giants, seeking adventure and perhaps a worthy foe. Along the way they encountered a young boy named Thjalfi and his sister Röskva, children of a poor peasant. In a mishap, Thjalfi had broken one of the goat's legs while preparing a meal. But Thor, merciful, revives his goat with Mjolnir's magic. It not only takes life, but gives it too. Impressed by the boy's honesty, Thor took Thjalfi as his servant, and the group pressed on through dense forests and over rugged mountains. As night fell, they sought shelter in a vast empty hall with 5 chambers branching off like fingers. Exhausted, they slept, but were awakened by tremendous earthquakes and roars that shook the earth. Thor stood guard holding Mjolnir, while the others cowered. At dawn, they discovered the hall was no building, but the glove of a colossal giant named Skreimir, who lay snoring nearby. His snores had caused the quakes, and the hall was merely his discarded mitten. Skreimir, jovial yet immense, laughed at their fright and offered to guide them to Utgarða Loki's stronghold, the citadel of the outer giants. Tying the provisions to his own massive sack, Skreimir strode ahead, his steps covering leagues. By evening, he slept under an oak tree, leaving the gods to retrieve their food from the knotted bag. Thor, furious at the giant's presumption, struck the sack 3 times with Mjolnir, each blow mighty enough to destroy mountains. Yet Skreimir merely stirred, muttering about acorns falling on his head. Unaware to Thor, this was the first illusion. Skreimir enchanted the sack with magic, rendering the blows harmless to an invisible barrier of iron mountains. The next day, Skreimir parted ways, pointing them to Utgarða Loki's hall, and warning them to behave humbly, for the giants there dwarfed even him. Thor, Loki, Thjalfi, and Röskva entered the grand fortress, where Utgarða Loki, a cunning giant king, greeted them with mocking courtesy. What feats can such small folk perform? He sneered, challenging them to contest against his court. First, Loki boasted of his eating prowess. He faced Logi, a wiry figure in devouring a trove of meat. Loki ate swiftly, consuming all the flesh, but Logi devoured meat, bones, and even the trove itself. Utgarða Loki declared Logi the winner. Loki had competed against wildfire personified, Logi meaning flame, which consumes everything in its path. Next, Thjalfi, swiftest of youths, raced against Hui. Thjalfi ran like the wind, but Hui lapped him thrice. Hui is spirit itself, faster than any mortal or god could match. Then came Thor's trials. Enraged by the defeats, he claimed he could drink more than any. Utgarða Loki presented a massive horn, saying his weakest courtiers drained it with one draught. Thor gulped mightily once, twice, thrice, yet the level barely dropped. Unrevealed, the horn's end dipped into the ocean. Thor had drunk enough to lower the seas, creating the tides we know today. Undeterred, Thor demanded a wrestling match. Utgarða Loki summoned Eli, an old crone, as his champion. Thor strained with all of his might, but could only force her to one knee. Ellie was old age, which no one, not even the gods, can fully conquer. Finally, Thor was tasked with lifting Utgarða Loki's cat from the floor. He heaved until his muscles screamed, managing only to raise one paw. The cat was the Mythgarða serpent, Jormungandr, encircling the world. Lifting its paw was a feat that shook the cosmos. Humiliated, the group prepared to leave, but as they departed, Utgarða Loki revealed the truth. Skrymir was himself in disguise, and the blows Thor struck had cleaved 3 valleys into a mountain. The contests were illusions, pitting the gods against unbeatable forces of nature, fire, spirit, the sea, old age, and the world serpent. Terrified of Thor's true power, Utgarða Loki confessed he would never welcome them again, then vanished with his haul in a puff of enchantment. Thor raised Mjolnir to strike, but the illusion dissolved, leaving them in an empty plain. They returned to Ashgotha wiser, but bruised in pride. This myth holds enduring importance in modern life, illustrating the futility of brute force against intangible challenges. In our era of rapid change, climate crises, technological illusions, and personal insecurities, it reminds us that not all battles are won through strength alone. Thor's journey teaches humility, recognizing that perceived failures may be victories in disguise, much like how modern innovators pivot from setbacks to breakthroughs. The shadow side emerges in the deceptions and unchecked egos. Utgarða Loki embodies the trickster archetype, a shadow figure representing chaos and illusions that lurks in the unconscious, as per Jungian psychology. Thor's rage and Loki's cunning reflect our own shadows, repressed aspects like arrogance or deceit that, if ignored, lead to self-sabotage. In modern contexts, this shadow manifests in toxic masculinity, where overconfidence blinds us to vulnerabilities, or in societal deceptions like fake news that distort reality. When integrated, however, these elements foster growth. Thor integrates his shadow by accepting limits, emerging stronger and more self-aware. Similarly, in modern personal development, acknowledging the shadow through mindfulness or shadow work transforms weaknesses into strengths. It prevents hubris, encourages empathy, and builds resilience. For instance, leaders who integrate humility avoid catastrophic decisions, while individuals who face illusions find authentic power. Thus, the myth urges us to journey inward, confronting deceptions to achieve wholeness in a fragmented world. If you're enjoying these videos, then give them a like and subscribe for more. I'm currently creating the Norse archetype course. I've handpicked 6 Norse archetypes, gods and goddesses. We'll be looking at why these myths associated with these archetypes are relevant in modern life. We'll be looking at the shadow side, what signs to recognize so that we can change and evolve. And we'll be looking at the integration, how we can change and integrate that new story within ourselves. There are 3 pieces of work that you can do over the 2 weeks between the classes. Level 1 is a stoic practice involving meditation and visualization. Level 2 is the bridge between level 1 and 3. Level 3 is a left-hand path ritual for those seeking those deeper dives into their psyche. If this interests you, then hit that notification bell so you can stay up to date for when I launch. If you're looking for something stoic, then I have the 7-day challenges. And if you're looking to broaden your knowledge, I have 2 ebooks, The Art of Creating New Habits and The Process of Meditation and Shadow Work. I also have one-to-one sessions for those seeking a deep transformation. If this sounds good to you, then check out my Patreon. The link is in the description.